Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next The Dawn of Yangchen chapter analysis video. This one is going to be for chapter 11, Keeping Score. This is a pretty short chapter, 3 pages once more. It's a direct continuation from the previous chapter, which obviously ended with the discussion between Yangchen and the Shang merchants with "You have no power here, Avatar." She presented her points. They more or less dismissed them all with the idea that they don't want to put any money into helping the people. They seem to just want to keep things the same because it's working for them. And so it seems like the discussion is basically over. What can Yangchen do from here? Given that they seem to just want the discussions to end. So that's what we jump into here. There's a bit of a silence in the discussion at the start as Yangchen is just figuring out what can she say to change anything. But Henshi speaks up and is kind of like, your wisdom is much appreciated. We will meditate upon your advice and seek to incorporate it into our lives. And it's like, nice, very diplomatic, but it's very much just like, yes, we'll listen to you, we'll think about it, but we've already made up our minds. We know that that's how it is. So she's completely aware that she's just getting brushed off here in all of this. And she struggles to form a sentence initially. She's like, surely you can see a long run. And she just has to compose herself to get back on track and be like, surely you can see the long-term benefit of investing in the people of the city. The spirits smile upon those who take care of their neighbors. And Nohai from the previous chapter is also just kind of like, oh, you're mentioning the spirits again. You know, like, if spirits have a problem with Bin they haven't shown it yet. And she just does this kind of comical thing where she looks around like, oh, is there a spirit over here? Like, ooh, is there one I haven't seen yet? Like, mocking almost the idea that, spirits even exist is what you kind of get from her. So this obviously gets all the other Shangs, chuckling that like, haha, oh, you made fun of the Avatar there, because they're laughing at her at this point. She's just trying to do the right thing in the right way. And they're just at the point now where it's just like, ha, silly Avatar, trying to get us to just put our money into what they view as basically nothing, because they're so focused on business. She again tries to be like, please, whoever unites with me in this effort would be marked by history. I urge you, join me in companionhood and duty. So she really does believe that if they use her plans, their money, and they just try, they could turn the Shang cities into something that is good, better for the people, which in turn will be better for them. But they're fine with the way things are without needing to put more effort in. But Yangchen obviously is here for the people primarily. And what can she do here? They just say in regards to duty, our duty is to manage the flow of trade between the four nations, not to throw bones at every barking animal in the street. As long as the Earth King Feishan gets his portion of the revenues, he doesn't care how we manage our business. Your advice has been heard. I think we're done here. So the second time she's basically been told you have no power here, I think we're done. Them wanting to end discussions straight away. And Yangchen's getting a little bit angry. Like we've seen from just a chapter or two before that there is a point where Yangchen will lose it a little bit and, throw a fruit back at the angry crowd, that sort of thing. And she's on the verge of doing that here in the seat that she's in. You can see that she's sort of like got the claws going on the armrest here. And Boma's kind of like, oh, Yangchen's about to make a move here. So she knows that she has to say something here. Otherwise, the discussions truly are over. But it was Yangchen alone who decided that she was no longer giving advice and that they weren't done. So no longer time for advice, gentle suggestion, persuasion. No, she's going for it here. So what does she have? The Earth King cares about being cheated. He cares about treason. And she just lets them kind of ponder over that. And they're all like, what? Why would you bring up the Earth King like that? Because we've already gotten like how serious of a person he is. There's a reason in like the description for the book he's viewed as being the mercurial Earth King. People know not to mess with him, and Yangchen is otherwise basically saying, I'm accusing you of cheating the Earth King in this, and effectively, what if he was to learn about this? And they're kind of like, why would you say that? You know, Avatar, you as well as we do know the ramifications of using such indelicate language in matters concerning His Majesty the Earth King. Can you explain yourself? And she goes into the details here. According to your latest charters, the Shangs of the city are allowed to move cargo with 28 specific authorized grand junks, but I can personally attest to the fact that 44 distinct ships docked last month. They're easier to count from above. I've been surveilling the city for weeks. So this is where you see some of the stuff from the earlier chapters of the fact that she has like the map laid out. All that stuff there is part of her preparation ahead of these meetings. That she's gone in here and what seems like has done the typical Avatar thing. But she does have all the information that she needs to present something to them. But this seems to be the only way that she's going to be able to accomplish something. So she's using the more spy work that she's done ahead of time here to give her that advantage. And that she's been here for weeks, well ahead of the meeting, counting and seeing if they are doing things in the right way. And according to her, it's they're only allowed 28 ships to come in and out, but there were 44. So that's a big difference there between them. That's like what 16, like nearly kind of like half as much more kind of type thing. It's excessive. And so she points out the idea of like bribing enough harbor masters to run hidden traffic must be expensive, which means the returns must be significant. Could it be that Bin is generating a large amount of revenue that the Earth King doesn't know about, when we all know how sensitive His Majesty is about not getting his due? Thanks to Zongdu Henshi's wonderful lesson. Even worse, any ships unaccounted for could be holding spies and other security risks to His Majesty's rule. This is the card that she can play here to get some advantage back in the discussion, because people are terrified of the Earth King, not just because of what happened with the Platinum affair, but if you remember a few chapters ago, I think it was during one of the Kavik chapters, he mentioned that like word had been going around about the Earth King's latest round of like rounding up people who he doesn't trust from within his court and just throwing them on top of the walls. A very cruel act. People know not to mess with the Earth King. And she's basically saying, what if I was to tell him this? So this changes things. But how does this exactly help her to get what she wants? So she gives them the sort of out, because the Earth King getting involved in this won't suddenly help the people like she wants to help. So she says, if there is an excess of money in this city, perhaps it's only a rounding error and can be reconciled by directing the funds to more charitable efforts sometime before I next speak to the Earth King. So there's her solution. I'll look past this if you use that extra money to do the things I'm suggesting you should do to help the people. I don't inherently have a problem with you running more trade through here, but I want you to use that extra money that you're not giving to the Earth King and Fire Lord and stuff like that to help the people. So all of a sudden, this should open it up a little bit more. And even Boma gets in on this. He realizes what Yangchen is doing. Avatar, I believe you are scheduled for an audience with His Majesty 3 months from now. And she's like, oh, is that so? Excellent. Well done. And all of a sudden, Henshi has to speak up again, because he's the leader here, of course. Thank you, Avatar, he said in a weary rasp, his voice already overused. I am sure a reconciliation can be achieved. So a big shift in just a few pages for Yangchen here. But she has been forced to, in a way, do things in the way she doesn't typically want to do things in. This is a little bit of sort of the nuclear option of effectively like blackmailing them. But we've seen from the Kavik scenes in more of a fun way, she's willing to do this if she has to, especially when people won't listen to her being the reasonable, competent Avatar. This is the only way she can really see to actually do things. So, very fun chapter. I actually like that they split them up in this way of like, you think it's gone very wrong for Yangchen. Here's her turning the tables using the fact that like they further explain the whole Shang thing of like, oh, that's how strict it is, that there's a set rule that like for up here in Bin 28 specific ships are authorized to trade here. But there was these extra, like, 16 ships that Yangchen said were coming here as well, like, unauthorized. And they're not giving any of the customs for them to the Earth King. So there's a valid problem here, but she's willing to let it go away if they just do what they need to do. And what we're going to see here, obviously we do get a little bit more to discussion in the next chapter, but ultimately it's going to be the Shangs want to discuss amongst themselves what to do with this. That this could lead to trouble. And Yangchen, of course, is going to try and spy on this to get the advantage on them. So it's a really interesting setup of where we're actually going here. And very effective use of just a couple of pages here to show Yangchen is not willing to just wilt under this pressure from these business people unwilling to help. So it shows the effort she's putting in, putting herself on the line a little bit here as well. But this is how much she does want to help people. So there are my thoughts on chapter 11. In the comments, let me know what your thoughts are. But that has been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.